6th. We're breathing. It's going to be a lovely day. Rise and shine. It is a beautiful day. I'm West 2 First Warning meteorologist Eric Burris. This is Coffee Talk. We get together 7 days a week, chat about what's doing in the world of weather. Obviously, we've got Lee we need to track. We're going to be going through the latest, but throughout the broadcast, even when we're talking about our local forecast, we're still going to keep Lee in the corner just so that you know everything there is to know about the storm system. Obviously, it's going to be getting stronger. But first, let's just kind of look outside and enjoy. There's a shot from our Tower Cam network, and it's beautiful. Daytona Beach, rise and shine, my friends. You are looking absolutely fantastic. I mean, like, absolutely fantastic. First warning, live Doppler radar. Nice and quiet this morning, looking very, very good. Temperatures out the door in the 70s, and I don't think that's... Why are none of my script... I only check... So, just so that a little inside baseball for you, I don't check the temperatures, obviously, until I get on here, and it's always wrong. And I need to figure out what the problem is here. So, I'm running my script. It's going. It's connecting to the data source. You see that 80 in Orlando? That's about to change. Or it's actually... Okay, there it is. 75. Okay, I don't know why that script is not working. So, cool. Still fighting technology. I should have checked that before I came on here. But instead, I updated the view on that Lee thing in the corner. And had to do dad mode. So anyway, 75 in Orlando, 72 degrees in the Villages. Forecast for us today does bring up temperatures just a little bit. We'll use the half screen because we got the Lee box there. 89 by lunchtime, 94 degrees, our high temperature. It's going to be a toasty day today for sure. It's going to be a nice and warm one. As a matter of fact, temperatures today are going to be into the vicinity of records. Here's a look at those numbers, okay? In Orlando, 94 is the forecast. Record high is 100. Not expecting that. But Sanford, Leesburg, we're going to be close. Daytona Beach, Melbourne, not so close. Either way, it's going to be a nice and hot day. And for those of you that are tracking the mugginess, we're back into the humid territory today. Yup. Oh, well. So let's talk about high temperatures around Central Florida. Today, we're getting up there. 94 in the city. Average high is 91, so certainly well above average. 95 today in the Villages. Upper 80s, lower 90s at the beaches. Jody says, no more heat. As long as Jody understands, I actually don't have control over this. If you're good with that, Jody, then I am too. As long as you know I report on the weather. I don't control it. But at least there's one thing that we can look forward to, even if it is an emotional victory. And that's that we're counting down to fall, autumn. The autumnal equinox gets going 17 days from now. Even if it's, an emotional victory. And the muggy meter looking, by the way, forward to the next couple of days. We're in the humid territory now, but we're kind of hovering in the comfort. We'll probably get back slightly to the comfy territory. And then Thursday, Friday, Saturday, that's going to continue to climb. Yeah, oh well. The only thing that's not going to continue to climb the next couple of days is rain chances. So let's look at the temperatures these next couple of days. Watch how those go up. 94 today, 95 tomorrow, 93 Friday, Saturday. So we're staying above average because the rain chances are not really going to be there. So let's take a look at Futurecast and get an idea what we are dealing with. Scott says, happy Cat 6 Day. Oh my God. What a mess. All right, here's a look at Futurecast today. Beautiful mix of clouds and sunshine. Tomorrow, beautiful. Partly cloudy skies, maybe a couple sprinkles or two. Continuing on. Friday, starting to see some storms though, right? Like 1, 2, 3 o'clock. It's not a ton, but I'm working sunrise Friday, so when we chat, we'll have some rain to deal with. Yeah. Just a little bit of rain to deal with. So let's talk about the overall weather perspective, okay? Hot and dry for us today, obviously. Same thing for us tomorrow. A little cold front, though. Come on in. Come on in, baby. Come on. Bringing in the rain chances a little bit Friday and then into Saturday. Come on in. Bringing in the rain chances. Yeah, that cold front is going to kind of sit over the eastern seaboard, and it's going to help to bring up our rain chances looking ahead to late this week and into the weekend. It's not going to be like a soaker or anything, but it does bring up those rain chances. And interestingly enough, it impacts the tropics as well. Now, we'll get to that in a second, but first, let's just kind of look ahead. Yeah, Chris says the cold front is teasing us. Agreed. Yeah. Don says, just scared the heck out of myself. Tried to get dressed while listening, and I dropped my iPhone, forgot that it wasn't Facebook Live or a FaceTime. Thought I was showing you all my goods. Oh my God, Don, that's too funny. No, I see text and I see weather graphics. I don't see any goodies. I mean, coffee's a goodie, so that's a lie. I see a goodie. That's very funny, though, Don. Thank you. We all need a good chuckle. So yeah, that cold front not really going to do anything in terms of the temperatures, but it is going to steer our little tropical feature that we're watching. And by little, obviously, not quite so little. There's Tropical Storm Lee. Maximum sustained winds are at 65 miles an hour. For perspective purposes, Lee is nowhere near like Florida. There it is, kind of bottom. I'll just widen it out to give you an idea. There it is, bottom right corner of your screen. There's Florida, kind of top left of your screen. So it's way out there. Visible satellite, it should start showing some activity from it over the course of the next few hours' time. And I've been watching it closely, kind of just to watch its overall motion. And it's kind of doing its thing, firing up some decent convection. We look at all of the Ensemble members on Lee, and they're pretty tightly agreed. This is the European and the GFS Ensemble plots, all sitting right there, keeping it north of the islands. The one thing that I want to say is that when we track tropical systems, we are 7 days out, and if there's one thing that drives me bonkers, it's when people are like, it's going to do this, or it's going to do that. 7 days out, we've got decent modeling, but we don't have perfect modeling. And I'm just not going to bet my life on modeling 7 days out, all right? That's just, I won't. Here's the forecast cone from the Hurricane Center. I would love nothing more than this thing to recurve, And that's what it looks like it wants to do. But that's not in the forecast cone. And remember, the forecast cone is the official outlook. So according to the Hurricane Center, by later today, by 2 p.m., should have a hurricane. Notice by Friday morning, we're looking at a major hurricane. And one thing that's interesting is if you look at the intensity, Category 4, 150, Category 4, 150, the Hurricane Center is stopping just short. They're stopping just short of calling it a Category 5 hurricane. And the headline from the Hurricane Center's 5 a.m. advisory, Lee approaching hurricane strength, expected to rapidly intensify into an extremely dangerous hurricane by the weekend. Obviously, we don't love that. Now, just kind of scanning through, I'm just going to read to you the forecast discussion. Now, what I'm about to kind of read through to you is available free of charge. I'm not sitting here trying to sell you an app. This is nhc.noaa.gov. That's the National Hurricane Center website. And I'm just going to kind of read and decipher. It's called the forecast discussion. And as a matter of fact, here, I'll even pop it on the screen. I'll pop it on the screen for you. Hold on. All right. So this is the forecast discussion. All right. And we're just going to kind of read that together. Okay. Lee continues to strengthen at a quick pace. Satellite images show that deep convection has been increasing in intensity and coverage in a central dense overcast feature in the sprawling curved band over the western semicircle. So let's go back to the satellite imagery, and I'll kind of help you understand what they're talking about. And we'll just kind of digest this together, okay? So what they're discussing is kind of that spiral banding around that. The CDO is this section right in here. In other words, it's going to end up being the core of the storm system, okay? So that's what that is. All right, continuing. The Dvorak classification from TAFB and SAB are now 3.555 knots, and accordingly, the initial intensity has been increased to 55 knots. Lee is not far from hurricane strength, and it will likely achieve that status later today. So what they're talking about with the Dvorak classification is, remember, this is too far out to get recon flights. So because of that, you have to use satellite intensification, and there is, here, let me pull that up for you. Where is that? Sat winds. Here it is. All right, I'm going to move you up. I'm going to add you there. All right, here's the website for that. It's super basic. Super basic. It's old school. All right, so this is the website. I'm going to make it bigger for you. But there you go. There's the classification. Final number, etc., etc. Yeah. Oh, that's 13L. Hold on a second. That's old. There we go. Oh, Tropical Storm Lee. Oh, all right. Well, I'm apparently hitting the old website, so I have to go. Maybe I've got a bad link. All right. Anyway, see, this is what happens for me trying to throw stuff together on the fly. My apologies. Anyway, 3.555. The one I was showing you says 2.5. That's from, you see the CI pressure VMAX. That's old, so ignore that. Like I said, I don't know why I'm seeing old, but that's okay. All right, continuing on. Tropical storm is moving west-northwest of 14 on the south side tropical ridge. This ridge is expected to persist to the north of Lee during the next several days, keeping the storm on a west-northwest track. Although the NHC model and model guidance continue to show Lee passing to the north of the northern Leeward Islands this weekend, users are reminded that the details of the track forecast are still uncertain at those time ranges. The average forecast track errors 125 and 175 respectively. It lies on the southern side of model guidance envelope, roughly halfway between the usually most skillful consensus aids. Lee has already been strengthening fairly quickly, despite some east-northeasterly vertical shear, since the shear is expected to relax, continue to grow rapid. Most of the intensity models are very aggressive, bringing Lee to major hurricane status by this weekend, but they don't show much change in strength in the short term. In addition, the global models like the GFS and European show explosive intensification and forecast Lee's minimum pressure to drop by more than 60 millibars by the end of the forecast period. The NHC intensity lies near the high end of that, but falls to near the middle of the guidance envelope after. Regardless, powerful hurricane. Okay, so that's just kind of rolling through the super like nerd technical discussion. So they're talking about this ridge there to the north. The big question in steering is that trough, that cold front that I was talking to you about come like late this week into the weekend. Okay, so that cold front breaks down the Bermuda High a little bit, and then that kind of opens the turning opportunity for a recurvature. But it's all dependent on time. It's all dependent on positioning. It's all dependent on, there's so many of these little elements that are at play here, which is why we're not 1,000% certain of any trajectory just yet. Okay? So that's why we have to watch this so very carefully. The intensity models are absolutely going bullish with this. Absolutely going bullish. Here's a look, okay? I mean, it's, they're Next couple of days, steady strengthening, but like this weekend should have a major hurricane. All right, so, you know, and as far as the computer models go, just so that you know, this is the kind of the graphical models here. All right, there they are. Fairly tightly agreed. I like that, but it's not done until it's done. And I think it's so interesting. This is one of those cases where I posted something and I was like, it's going to be close to our coast. And I got some people on social like, 500 miles away, that's close? Yeah. For now, we're 7 days out. If it actually passes 500 miles off the shoreline, that's fine. But at this moment in time, you know, 500 miles out is still a little concerning. So just so that you know, and I always like to give full disclosure, computer models that we have don't run all that far out, at least in terms of our futurecast models. So let me do this. I'm just going to show you our futurecast model because I don't even think that Lee shows up. It's so... Yeah, see, Lee doesn't even show up in the forecast grid. The forecast grid for futurecast ends just outside of Puerto Rico there. You see that? So can't use our futurecast, but we can use like the GFS and the European. So let's start with the GFS, and we can certainly go in and dissect this a little bit, but I'm just going to run the 6Z GFS showing a monster hurricane, right? And then turning, a very Dorian-like turn, but much further out, at least for right now. So that's the 6Z, the morning run. If we look at the 0Z, kind of the same positioning, so that's good. European, let's take a look and see what the European model's showing. European, really like maxing out intensity, but the European may be a little closer to us. Not much, but a little closer to us. But you know, the models are continuing to show a recurvature, and that's great. I love that. I want to see a recurvature. I want to see consistency on a recurvature, right? But if there's one lesson that we've learned years and years and years and years and years of tracking these things, it's that it isn't over until it's over. And so this is not me like trying to scare you. I saw somebody accuse me of gaslighting. I love that. That's particularly wonderful. We just don't know until we know, right? It's way out there, and we haven't even gotten like recon data in yet. Now, the models have been remarkably consistent, and that breeds confidence. Again, my cheesy saying is consistency breeds confidence when it comes to computer forecast models. Recon missions are expected to start, should start things off tomorrow into Friday. So that's good, right? But, you know, it's not 100% yet. So recon missions will help. And as we start to get more and more of that data, we'll get that plugged into the computer models and make sure that we're on the right track. That's all. Some of the YouTube thumbnails for Lee are out of control. Well, I mean, I don't know what other people are posting. I mean, Lee is going to be a really nasty hurricane. It really is. Frank says no gaslighting or hyping here. That's why I love Coffee Talk. Thank you, buddy. Yeah, I look, went to school for 4 years, did the meteorology thing. I've tracked Florida weather for 22 years now. So I'm going to give you my absolute thoughts. There's none of this like, what do you really think's going on? I'm sitting here. I've already been talking for 19 minutes and 22 seconds. Believe me, I got to fill that time with my thoughts. Right? Joshua, I never once heard you hype anything since I've lived here. That's the only reason. You're the only one I listen to. Thank you, buddy. I appreciate it. So, you know, it's definitely something to track. It's going to be too close for comfort, and our skill. You know, even the Hurricane Center said, and you know, it's worth like bringing back up. Like, did you see what they happened to write there? They were talking about how. Let me see if I can give me a second here. Yeah, like let me highlight that for you, because I think that is kind of a big deal, right? Like, so the Hurricane Center went out and even highlighted. For reference, the average National Hurricane Center forecast track errors are at about 125 miles and 175 nautical miles on days 4 and 5. So they do a really good job. But even they're pointing out, like, they're not perfect. Know what you know what you don't know. And I think that that's very good on them. I think that they do such great work. But it's not done until it's done. Vanessa, the only things I've heard you hype, UCF, rocket launches, DMB, and spending time with your family. Yeah, unapologetically will do that for sure. Yeah. My curiosity is wondering, was there a trough in the southeast for Nicole on the surface maps? Wondering if this is the Nicole recycle after yesterday's discussion with you and Jeremy. Ah, yes. All right. Ask and you shall receive. Let's go back and let's look at, what was that, like November 6th? November 5th, 2022. Let me pull up the upper air charts. All right. Copy image address. All right, give me a few seconds. I'll get that dialed up. When you're doing everything on the fly, it doesn't get to be as professional. All right, so that's the upper air chart for Nicole. Okay, so there's Nicole, and yeah, there's a trough. Notice though that the so that's the 5th. That's the day before. There's the 4th. Just kind of looking at the different charts. November 3rd. So if this is the Nicole part of the pattern, if it wants to do that, that's the 3rd. It's like there's that first trough. 4th, 5th, 6th. There's Nicole, kind of high, building back in. If this wants to be Nicole, it has to, and you can see there's the trough there, but it's further north. It's over Canada. So if this wants to be the Nicole part of the pattern, it probably will need to slow down. So we'll see. We'll see how this plays out. Karen says, I'm a South Carolina Hugo veteran, and you can bet your sweet bippy that I'm going to listen to the best. That's why I listen to your weather chat during hurricane season. Karen, thank you. Boy, Hugo was a beast. Yeah. I mean, this has the ability to be a beast, too. I just hope that it stays out to sea. Tina, you're awesome. Let the haters with their loser comments go somewhere else. This is a hater hype-free zone. Yeah, I agree. Let them do their thing. Hannah, A-Bear. Show A-Bear. It's one of the most interesting things to me regarding hurricane season. The A-Bear box. So here's the A-Bear box. And the official forecast thinking from the Hurricane Center is close. It'll be interesting to see. It's close to the A-Bear box. If you're curious, the A-Bear box, there are 2 of them. And Mr. A-Bear was a forecaster for the National Hurricane Center, and he found that major hurricanes that cross through that box strike Florida. So for me personally, I'm hoping that it does not. I'm hoping it does not hit the A-Bear box. Right there. I'm hoping it does not hit the A-Bear box. When do we know about this high and cold front? I mean, it's going to take model run. I think by this weekend we'll have a pretty good idea. Grant over on YouTube is asking, can you show us the 8 a.m. advisory? So because this is not near land, the Hurricane Center is not issuing 8 a.m. advisories. So we don't have that. Yeah. When is the long range for North Carolina showing something? So I think we're done with that. Now we're going to enter into the October-November part of the pattern, which is brand new stuff. Mike, you're great to follow. Eric, you and Cam Rock. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. Taylor says, if it hits the box, grab your ankles and kiss your Tropics goodbye. Ugh. I hope not. Why isn't it just said Herbert, not Hey Bear? I have no idea, Yukon, what you mean. Also, I'm half asleep, though, so I don't know. Caitlin, listening from up here in Southeast PA near Philly. Glad you're talking about this because no one around here really gives detailed information about tropical systems. Well, you can always count on a deep dive in the tropics here on the Coffee Talk. Yeah. If it does hit the A-Bear, when would it be? Well, in terms of the model, if we look at the model data for timelines, okay, it's going to make its closest pass to Florida. That's Tuesday at noon. That's Wednesday at about noon. So Tuesday-ish, Wednesday-ish, that's kind of what we're looking at, Let's hope that it stays out to sea. That's what I want. I want it to stay out to sea. You're hyping it. No, I don't want it to come here. Oh, boy. I like that shirt, Sherry says. Yeah, thank you. Alicia and I are going to go fly in a day. So, that'll be fun. All right, yes, you want to look at the ensembles. Y'all are nerds. I love it. We got a bunch of nerds in this room. I'll take every bit of it. All right, let's dial up some raw computer forecast model data. Let me get this turned around. So I already showed you the actual model run. So let's come over and start looking at some ensembles. All right, this first, the GFS ensembles. All safely out to sea, like that trend for sure. If we go from the 6Z to the 0Z, all safely out to sea. I love that consistency. 18Z last night. Just about all to sea. There were a couple of outliers, but yeah, generally latest. That's just another view of it, and you can see the cluster is out to sea. So I like that. I definitely like that. All right, so that's the GFS ensemble. Let's switch over, look at the European ensemble. And it's not quite as optimized. It's sneaking a little over. If we go back one run, most, I'd say 98% of the ensemble plots keep it out to sea. There's a couple that want to get a little closer, but at the end of the day, here's what it boils down to. At the end of the day, the confidence is there through the Antilles, and then afterward, it's that turn, right? It's that weakness in the ridge, that big trough. That's where we have the questions in the forecast. That's the struggle. Canadian ensembles. Good. Let's keep that going. At the end of the day, ensembles are computer models. They are guidance, not gospel. The official forecast for now still hasn't shown a turn because it doesn't go out far enough. But hopefully we'll start to see as this forecast pushes forward, it'll start showing a bit of a turn toward the end. And that's certainly what we're wanting. All right, nowhere near the Gulf of Mexico, the Caribbean, or the Bay of Campeche. Just have to watch the East Coast. All right, hopefully it stays out to sea. Even if it stays out to sea, though, very rough surf and rip currents can be expected. All right. Matthew, I found that we can see the raw models on Tropical Tidbits, but do they have the ensembles on that site? I don't know if they do. Pivotal Weather's another website to look at. There's a bunch of websites. Yeah. Bunch of websites. Brian, Eric, with the formation of Lee, and please show us the updated current season numbers so far to date. Also, how do the current season numbers compare to all the predictions for this year's hurricane season made earlier this year? Okay. I haven't built the graphic, but I can look it up real fast. So, was asking about with invests don't count for storm names, okay? But so we are sitting at 13 named storms. 7.4 is the average. We've had 3 hurricanes, 13 named storms, and through today, 7.4 is the average. We've had 3 hurricanes through today, 3 is the average. We've had 2 major hurricanes, 1.3 is the average. And we've generated 56.8 ACE points, 49.1 is the average. So most of the metrics are showing this year above average in terms of the season so far. All right. Any other questions, comments, concerns? Chris and Matt say that they do have the ensembles. Yeah. But you know, now that this is a decent storm, the good news is that I'm able to start posting like all of the ensembles like this, like you know, and track it. So that's good. In addition to just the tropical spaghetti plots, we also have just the regular old-fashioned ensembles. Mickey says, El Nino who? Well, this is definitely a good case study in sea surface temperatures overcoming the El Nino impacts of wind shear, etc. Yeah. So that's something. When do you think we'll get hurricane hunters into Lee? Tomorrow. The forecast from the Hurricane Center shows recon missions starting Thursday evening at 7:30. I didn't check today to make sure that they haven't changed, but yeah. Yeah. Paige is asking, will we know more about how it might curve closer to this weekend? Correct. Yeah. I think Chris wants rainfall totals. Just a gut feeling. Has he been asking? I haven't seen. Oh, I see. I see Chris asking and asking. What kind of rainfall totals? I don't know what you mean, Chris. Do you want how much we've seen? I don't know what you mean. You got to help me out, Chris. Come on, people. Work with me. Here's our numbers for the year, though. Okay, Orlando is in a deficit. Sanford, Leesburg in a significant deficit, whereas Melbourne is in a little bit of a surplus. So there's that. Hyree's asking, when will the cone update? The cone updates, the next comes down from the Hurricane Center at 11 a.m. All right, and you know I'll be posting that to all my social channels live. Okay? All right. My next broadcast will be live at 3:30 this afternoon. We'll be chatting all about it. All right, but in the meantime, we've got a developing tropical system. 5 a.m. advisory shows winds are at 65 miles an hour and expected to become a Category 4, perhaps even a Category 5. All right, stay tuned with WESH 2. We'll be keeping you up to date. All right, I'll have more updates on my social channels through the day. Be good, y'all. Take care.